All right. We are going to keep rolling with our media availabilities today in advance of this weekend's NASCAR All-Star race here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We've now been joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 29 Ford for SHR. I'm thankful I did not mess that one up. But Kevin, thank you for coming to spend some time with us. You've had a little bit of a busy week here at North Wilkesboro. Just talk a little bit about coming in today and then kind of your mindset heading into this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a great week so far. We had a good Tuesday, Wednesday with the Cars Tour event. Had a lot of fun with that, and I think I still haven't been to the hauler yet, so I'm excited about getting in the 29 car and being able to to drive that. So it seems a little bit surreal, but I think as you look at everything that's kind of taken place and everything that's happened, and here we are. So between the racetrack and the car, it's going to be a great few days.
All right, we're now going to go to questions for Kevin. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start in the back and then come up front to Lee.
Kevin Kennybeck. Oh, okay, thanks. Kevin Kennybeck, WXII. We've heard from so many fans the last few weeks about how special this is because it brings back memories from when they were children coming here with their parents, and now they are the parents bringing their own children. With this being your last season, I wonder if you could speak a little bit about what it means to you to have your own family here at this track this weekend, and have you considered at all the possibility that in 10 or so years you might be watching your own son compete here?
Yeah, well, I think when you look at this particular event and everything that has happened over the last, really, I guess it's been really about a year and a half, maybe a couple years, since the transformation has taken place, and we had the modified race and the Cars Tour event and everything that we had last August, and I think that's really when everybody realized that it was probably capable of being a reality. For me, I came back in 2010 when they had first cleaned the track up and trying to get some momentum to do exactly what we're doing today, but the timing was just not the same as it is in 2010 as it is in 2023. So I think when you look at and I think for me, really realizing the impact of the moment that the 29 car had and the win in Atlanta is very similar to NASCAR, with the feeling that you get why and what the NASCAR fans like about coming back here is just different, right? It's coming back to North Wilkesboro and having that old school feel to it, and generations of families being able to do exactly like you say, bring their kids to the race and experience something that they got to experience with their parents when they were kids, and there's just North Wilkesboro is it's a great facility, but there's things that hit those hardcore fans differently, and I think North Wilkesboro is one of those things that moves the needle, and I think that is very similar to the 29 situation. It's not really about the car or my name, or it's really about the moment for NASCAR, and I think this coming to North Wilkesboro is exactly the same. It's a moment for NASCAR, and I think that's pretty neat.
All right, we're going to go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, CatchFence.com. What did you glean from being on the track the other night, and what does it portend for Sunday?
Well, I know exactly how to get on and off pit road, and I think as the race went on, you kind of learned some of the characteristics of the groove. But I think from a power standpoint and the way that how heavy the Cup cars are, it's a much different driving style as far as what's good and what's bad, and how much throttle you can use and how much brake you use and things like that. So there's a lot of different tendencies with the car, but making laps around the track definitely doesn't hurt anything, so you don't have to waste any time when you first go out, because the tires will not be your friends as you go several laps into the run. So we'll see, but based on the simulator, there were not very many times that you were able to get wide open. So we'll see how that goes.
Rodney was on Sirius this week, and he said that it would probably be really emotional for you because this would be your last All-Star race, and you were expecting a lot of people here this weekend. Have you just kind of given yourself time to process that?
Yeah, I think it's the first one where I was like, oh man, this is a big moment, just with the 29 and seeing how excited Richard is to see it on a track and all the things that come with those 13, 14 years with RCR and being able to actually do this is a pretty big moment. I think that the coolest part about it is the fact that the two companies work together and being able to have the respect of Richard and everyone there to be able to actually let them have us do this is something that means a lot.
All right, we're going to go to Matt Weaver.
Matt Weaver, Motorsports Tribune. Maybe we'll find out differently for practice, but I don't think we're going to see shifting because of the lack of grip in the track. So if that is true, how is that going to change the racing compared to maybe what we saw in Martinsville the last 2 years?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can compare to Martinsville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of racing would we see then? If
I
that's
have
the
no
case?
idea. Yeah, I think it's yet to be seen. I think as you look at everything, I've told you guys this before. I'm not going to speculate on what type of racing that we're going to see because I always stick my foot in my mouth when I speculate, as you guys do as well. In case you were wondering, when you start speculating on something that's never happened, you're just asking for nothing but trouble. I don't see it. It's going to be fun, but I don't know what that means as far as how the race is going to be.
And then we've always had, Florida Speed Weeks with New Smyrna and
Tell you how many people that were just so excited to be at North Wilkesboro and be around and be a part of the event. And so, I think it's really important, and I think the All-Star race is a great race to be able to tie all that together. And I think short track racing is the best place for the All-Star races to be held because you don't have to make anything up, right? It's just a race. You don't have any gimmicks. You don't have any hoopla that goes with it to make it entertaining. The only part that concerns me is some of the conversations that we had when we got to this point before, when we had all these races clumped together as to what the crowds look like. So that would be my only interest as far as looking at it going forward, as to how that gets moved around, because I just, I don't know how many events can be supported in one particular area back to back to back to back. I think, when you look at going to Hickory on Thursday night with the Supers and Tuesday night here with the Supers and Wednesday with the Cars Tour, I mean, the short track stuff is, in my opinion, is a little bit different when it can tag onto those big events, because I think that those, especially Hickory, has a built-in backbone of fan base that is going to come support the event. So that's I'm interested to see what everybody thinks after we get done running multiple weeks in a row. Yep.
Great. Right over here.
Hey, Kevin, Steve Reed, Associated Press. I was wondering your thoughts on the track itself. How do you think it's going to hold up, being an older surface? And secondly, what was the first thing that when you came in here that you noticed it's different than your typical stop on tour?
Well, the asphalt is definitely different because of, the way that they pave is completely different than, you just don't see this style of asphalt very much. I think, the racetrack itself, I think it'll hold up fine. I think their strategy with, the new epoxy material that they have to replace the holes and things in the racetrack. When we had an issue on Tuesday, it took them, I think, 8 minutes to fix the issue, and it was never an issue again. So, I think if you just walk out there and you look at the epoxy, you're like, oh man, that looks abrasive. But we haven't seen anything that's super abrasive with anything that we did Wednesday night. So so I think everybody's looking forward to racing on this style of asphalt that they don't produce this asphalt anymore. So when you can see the shiny rocks and the grayness of the asphalt, I think that makes all the drivers excited.
All right, Mark, go ahead.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Kevin, last week at Darlington, you told us right now where Ford is, it's like going to a knife fight without a knife. But you're third in the points, only 29 points out of first place. Is the regular season championship doable? Is that something you feel you can attain?
I think for us, our cars have. I speak of the 4 team, and our cars have run competitively, and we've been in position and just haven't knocked that door down yet. But it's like I keep telling them, you keep knocking on that door, eventually somebody's going to answer it. And we just have to keep dotting the I's and crossing the T's, because that's just where we are. From an aerodynamic standpoint and everything that goes with our car currently. So we just have to be able to do everything right. The cars have to be closer to perfect than the other 2 models currently. So we just have to keep doing the things that we're doing, and some tracks affect it more than the others, and I think with the small spoiler and the short track package, it's been good for us so far. So hopefully that continues, and we can continue to do the things that we've done as a team and see where it all lands. You just have to keep clicking them off week by week, and so far we've done good for the most part every week.
All right, Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Kevin, the pit crew challenges tonight. Talk about that being a part of the All-Star Weekend and how much your pit crew's been practicing, and of course, also your role in this.
I don't particularly know my role, but I do know that involving the pit crew is fun for those guys, and I know there's a big bonus up for grabs. So. Everybody likes money, so anytime if they can stuff their pockets full of more money than they came here with, I think they'll be going for it. So, our guys have, for the most part, been good on pit road, and hopefully they can bust off a good stop and try to win themselves some extra cash. But that just makes it fun. I mean, anytime you can involve the team and the pit crew and people with something unique, it makes it anything unique makes it fun.
Also, you play a role because you got to come into pit road smoothly, et cetera. And so we didn't talk much about your part of it, but, it's...
You want to drive? You can ride with me.
I don't know if you really want that,
That's
Kev.
what they should do, is put you in the passenger side. You can ride in the passenger side.
I'll bring you a little good luck, right?
Yeah, just watch your tailbone when they drop the jack.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go to Stephen Wilson, then up front to Jeff Gluck.
Steve Wilson, SpeedwayDigest.com. You talked a little bit about the history already here, and you coming here in 2010. First question is that do you guys advocate to come back next year, or do you advocate to do something differently other than the All-Star race?
My opinion doesn't really matter next year. As far as from a driver's standpoint, I always advocate for something different. I think anytime you can keep it mixed up, I think it makes it more fun for everybody. I don't know. Is it as cool if you have a points race and the All-Star race? I don't even know if that's a possibility or an option. I'm just guessing. So, but I always vote for different. I think when you look at all the unique events, they're never as cool the third year. So. Yeah, I think it's something that you have to keep fresh and you have to keep new, and what that all means, I don't know, but I think that a 400 lap race would be pretty cool here to see.
And the second question is you talked a little bit about the asphalt that was last laid in 1981. So, as far as tire conservation coming from Darlington last week to coming to here, what is the difference that you see already?
Well, it's a much shorter track. I mean, that's the biggest difference. And when you look and see the lines that the cars run, turns 1 and 2 is really unique. And when they move that wall out, it kind of took the preferred line away. So you have to enter that corner a little bit different than what they used to, with the way that wall sticks out. So yeah, I think the line is, as you come up off the corner, it's almost like you get up against the wall almost halfway down the straightaway, and you're barely touching full throttle, and you're right back out of the throttle if it's similar to what it was in the simulator, which it could be totally wrong. But based upon the tire test and the things that they did, it's probably going to be that way. So there are several new patches compared to when they did the tire test, but I think it's really going to be about how much power you can get to the ground, and it's probably going to be a bit more extreme than Darlington, I would say.
All right, we're going to go to Jeff.
After the group photo, you told all the photographers to stay there, and you want to take a picture of them. Why?
Well, I mean, that was, I think it's important for you guys to be able to say you were here as well. But that was something that Senior used to do, and he used to always, every time he won, he'd always take a picture of the photographers. And Dale did that a little bit, so I thought it'd be cool for him to take that picture. And I told Harold to send it to Dale. I know he'd like that.
All right, we're going to go to Chris Knight and then Steve Post. I'll work my way around the room. We got a lot of hands up, guys. Just give me some time. Go ahead.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Kevin, now we're back here at North Wilkesboro. Do you see if it's an opportunity, you think we should revisit going back to Rockingham Speedway? That track also got a lot of government money invested in it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where Rockingham is right now. Did it actually get that money? It did. Last I had heard, they'd stopped working. So. Yeah, I don't know if they actually ever finished. I don't know. So. It would be my opinion to see how the 3 weeks in a row go with Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and Charlotte. That would be my opinion.
All right, Steve, go ahead.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Kevin, next week is the 600 at Charlotte. Can you just describe the endurance factor of that? Is it still an endurance race? Actually, we've got fewer 500-mile races nowadays, so is it endurance? Is there something that you recall about the length of that race somewhere in your career that stood out with you as far as the 600 miles?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on how hot it is outside. Usually it winds up just being the first warmer day of the year. So that usually makes it makes it a little bit more difficult than some of the other weekends that you've had, because the early heat is always harder to deal with than it is after you get middle of the summer, because you're used to it. So yeah, I mean, the 600-mile thing in itself is just unique because of the fact that it's just 600 miles, and the engine guys freak out because you got to go an extra 100 miles, but the parts and stuff on the car are just they're a lot more durable than they used to be, because I remember when I started racing the 600, it was all about pacing yourself until it got dark. Well, right now there's really no pacing yourself. You go as hard as you can go, and still have the same goal of keeping yourself on the lead lap and doing the things that you need to do until it's dark. But back in the day, it was take care of the motor, and they always seemed to detune the motor a little bit for that particular race to try to make it survive, because everything was built to go 500 miles for the most part, and now you have to run them 3 races. So, but the engine shop will still have a miniature freak out, just knowing that it's an extra 100 miles just because that's what they do.
All right, we're going to go to Seth, then Daniel McFadden, and we'll end up front with Steven. Go ahead, Seth.
Seth Egger, Kicking Tires. Kevin, you mentioned that it's a little surreal to be here. Do you almost have a little bit of a Field of Dreams feeling today?
Yeah, I think mine's more about the car than it is the racetrack. I think that the car fits the setting of the racetrack and everything that happens. But I guess for me, it's just a little bit different just because of the moment and the impact and everything that came with the car that I'm driving. It's more the car than the track for me. I'm honored to be here, and I think it's a great event. But to understand and see how important this particular number and paint scheme I mean it really caught me off guard too. I had to almost relearn the importance and the impact of that particular moment in our sport, because like I said earlier, there's more to it than the paint scheme and the number, and it's really a moment in NASCAR that means something to people that aren't even fans of yours and the Earnhardt fans and everything that goes with it. So I know that car on the racetrack one more time is important to a lot of fans. So that's really it's a great moment for the car and the track to do all that together.
All right, Daniel, go ahead.
Daniel McFadden, FrenchRish.com. Kevin, going off, I guess, your previous answer, up until this point, through like a quarter of the season, had it not quite felt like a farewell tour season for you yet? I know there hasn't been much like pomp and circumstance for like as other drivers may have gotten with their farewell tours. Has it felt like that way for you yet?
We really haven't been to a lot of these racetracks for the second time. So, I think when you look at everything that goes with it, we're really just crossing the tracks for the first time. So, yeah.
All right, we're going to take one final question with Stephen.
Stephen Toronto, CBS Sports. Kevin, I wanted to ask about the Cars Tour race on Wednesday night, because it seemed like, we've talked about tire wear and we've talked about the asphalt here, but it seemed like guys who stayed out compared to guys who pitted, drivers who stayed out seemed to be able to maintain their track position for a little while. Like I know Ryan Millington, Jared Fryer finished second and third, even without stopping in the last stop. Given how important track position has been in next-gen short track races, does that give you an impression of what might carry over to Sunday night?
I don't think so. I think with the Cars Tour stuff, we've kind of seen that trend as we've gone through the first several races this year, because the fields are so competitive and the times the cars are so close in time that the track position is important, because you just can't pass as many cars as you used to in a short amount of time because of the depth of the field. But these cars they're gonna blow the back tires off of them way differently than the late model stock cars did, just because of the fact that they just have so much more power compared to the late model stock. So I think it'll be a little bit of a different style of strategy and race than what we saw the other night. But track position was important.
And just for my records, do you know how much fall off there was on Wednesday night from the start of the run to the end of the run? And what are you expecting with these tires on the Cup cars?
In practice, the fall off was in 30 laps was about a second. I would say it'll be triple that, at least double. But I'm guessing.
All right, we'll take your word for it. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate the extended time as well. Best of luck this weekend.